Welcome back to r/LegalAdvice, where people ask questions, get advice, and we get satisfaction. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to join our amazing community, and without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And the first one is titled, "My new stepmother might have burned my dad's house down." My dad recently got married in November 2015, very rushed. The family had 2 weeks notice, to a woman he met online. I adore her, the whole family does, and today someone broke into my father's home, poured gasoline in 3 rooms of his house and lit it on fire. Absolutely nothing was salvageable. My dad's insurance agent just so happens to be his new wife. She was the last one to leave the house and left the front door unlocked after she left this morning. She has never had any priors, and I have no reason to assume she would be a suspect other than her problem with spending. I think she is in severe credit card debt, and I think she's kept that from my dad. Just curious if any of you folks out there have any experience with this. After I wrote the above paragraph, my stepmother was arrested for shoplifting. She's currently incarcerated, and my dad is having to deal with his first bail bondsman bailing out his new wife. I'm trying to remain unsuspicious, however, I keep remembering all these key factors. My stepmom was the last to leave the house at 7:45 am. It happened between 7:15 am when my dad left for work and 8:07 am when the fighters arrived due to a DT smoke alarm. As well as I just remembered that her shoes were melted. My dad's neighbor has a VRBO next door, whatever that is, I'm not sure, and the owner, after today's events, offered them to live in the home until theirs was repaired. Since the VRBO is pristine, I started to look at my shoes for signs on tracking and suit. I noticed my shoes were clean and looked over to see that my stepmother's shoes had a ton of crap on them. I said, "Hey, you might want to wipe those off as to not track and stuff to the rental." She walked into the kitchen and told my dad that she must have stepped in a hot spot because her shoes were melted. We all walked into the home at the same time after the fire department and police cleared the area. No one's shoes were compromised but hers. Please, any advice would be greatly appreciated. I really don't want to jump to conclusions, but this is not looking good. Edit, we are in Tennessee. And a user in the comments said, "I cannot say I have any experience with a new stepmom suspected of arson in a fire at my father's, but this sounds like the plot of a Lifetime movie. I suggest you contact the police with this information rather than posting about it here." So guys, what are your thoughts on this story? Do you think the stepmom is guilty? For me, it sure looks suspicious. Let me know what you think in the comments. The next one is an update to the stepmom story. She confessed during the fire marshal investigation and was arrested last night at 7:30 p.m, charged as Class C felony for TN. Any guidance through this process would be helpful. Yep, exactly as expected, but it makes you wonder why she did this. Unfortunately, there are no further updates and I could not reach the OP this time, so that is as far as we can get, unfortunately. And the next one is titled, "I am pursuing charges against a former friend for sexual assault. Please help." Hey everyone, I am a new time poster here and I really didn't think that I would ever make a post on this sub. I am in Ontario, Canada, if that helps. Just a bit of backstory. On Saturday, March 24th, 2008, I, along with my boyfriend and 5 of our close friends, went to another close friend's house to help him move to his new house. The friend invited the 7 of us to stay over and have a bit of a party to celebrate their house. So after 3 beers I felt very tired, especially after moving stuff all day, and I asked my friend if I could nap somewhere and he said for sure. This was around 1 am on early Sunday morning. I went up to his spare bedroom and once we were there he suggested that I slept in his bed because there was a bed in the room. I thought that made sense, so I just went in there. He went downstairs before I fell asleep, but when I woke up, approximately 4:15 am, he was pulling his hand out of my pants and some other stuff occurred. At the moment I really was not sure what to do. I was completely in shock, so I just got up and said, "I'm gonna go downstairs, my boyfriend is probably awake," and I promptly left the room and he did not say anything. Once I was downstairs, I fell asleep beside my boyfriend. At around 10 AM on Sunday morning, I asked my boyfriend to take me home because I felt sick and I had not told him about what had happened at this point. He said for sure he just wanted to load a bunch of the friend's stuff into his van to bring over to the house. So on the way home, I broke down and told him everything. He was not happy at all, understatement of the year to be honest. So my boyfriend still had our friend's stuff in his van still, so he dropped me off and took the stuff over to his new house to unload it. Once he was there, they unloaded it fine and my boyfriend confronted the friend by asking, "Did you touch my girlfriend in her sleep?" And my boyfriend said our friend seemed a bit nervous and the friend said,
"I only touched her back. I would never go further than that. I would not do that to you."
My boyfriend did not believe this after I told him what happened. My boyfriend said to him, "You know that is sexual assault, right?" And the friend responded with,
"I know."
My friend then said,
"I should probably text your girlfriend, right?"
My boyfriend left after a bit of arguing and came to see me at about 1 PM. Now at about 1:30 PM, the friend texted me with a very big apology, mostly saying,
"I'm sorry for what I did."
I said to him, "Dude, you know you didn't just touch my back. We both do." And he responded,
"I know."
I also said, "Dude, I woke up to that." To which he responded with,
"I know."
Once again, I have these texts where he acknowledges what happened, but that is essentially the gist of it. I am currently involved with police, I have done a video statement and my boyfriend has as well. I've cut all contact with this friend now and the friends who were there have done so too. I tried calling his mom and telling her so that I could maybe convince her to get the friend into therapy because I really did not want to press charges because of the repercussions on him. But she essentially called me a liar and shut me down entirely, so I was left in a very weird spot. So I went to the police last night and they took a statement from me at my house and then I went to the station to talk to a detective and do a video statement. They asked me if I wanted to press charges and I said I wanted to. There's a sexual behaviors clinic that convicted offenders can be referred to and so want him there. And a user in the comments said, "You have made your report to the police, it is out of your hands at this point and up to the DA." And guys, if you have watched until here, please don't forget to post some star emojis in the comments and also like the video if you want to support me. Thank you so much in advance. The next one is an update to this story. Not the update I'm sure is interesting or cool, but I went through with it. This took place in Ontario, Canada. After the detective took mine and my at the time boyfriend's statement, my former friend was arrested and taken in for questioning. They released him on the condition that he has no contact with me whatsoever. There were a few court hearings that I did not have to go to and the Crown prosecutor offered him a plea deal. This deal included a lightened conviction, simple assault instead, and he had to be on probation for 2 years. 7 months after I went to the police, it was the sentencing hearing. At this hearing, I read a victim impact statement. That is all I really have for this update and I am thankful for all of the support I've been shown for my original post. And the next one is titled, "Neighbors entrusted me with looking after their pet/house for 3 weeks. It has almost been a year now and they have not come back. Today their basement is flooded and I have no idea what to do." In June 2019, my neighbors came to my door. I had some experiences with them. They invited us for a barbecue not long after they moved in. They asked me and my wife if we would look after their pets and their house for the next 3 weeks, as they needed to return to Taiwan as his mother was dying. They even left me $500 for food for their 2 German shepherds and their cat. I don't know what happened to them, but they just never came back. I don't know if they ended up in some sort of prison or decided to just not come home at all. Today I found out their basement had flooded, probably sometime within the last week. Apparently a pipe burst, but the entire basement is completely effed. I paid for having the leak fixed and I spent all of today using my shop vac to drain their basement to the best of my abilities. Between this and one of their dogs needing surgery, I have spent several $1000s of my own money and frankly the damage to the basement was pretty awful. I don't have their insurance paperwork and don't really know if I can even do a claim for them. On top of this, his 2 giant German shepherds, while they are amazingly good boys, it is becoming almost too much for us to handle. Their last name is extremely common and their Facebook profiles are private, which gives me very little avenue to tackle this down. So the timeline is June 7, 2019, neighbors asked me if I would look after their pets and their house while they were handling the death of his mother back in Taiwan. Told me 3 weeks at latest. July 1st, 2019, neighbors sent me an email stating they needed some additional time to handle his father's affairs. He apologized and said he would be back by July 15th at latest. July 21st, 2019, sent him an email asking what was going on, explained how we were going on vacation in August, never got a response. July 31st, 2019, tried calling him on his cell phone, number he was given to me was no longer in service. August 14th, 2019, went on vacation, had my brother look after all 4 dogs for the next week. September 2nd, 2019, emailed him again, no response. September 3rd, 2019, tried to reach him and his wife via Facebook using the private message feature. September 6th, 2019, ended up moving his 2 dogs, 1 cat into our house as they seemed extremely miserable. I ended up disassembling part of our adjoint fence to allow his dogs to use their outdoor area. November 19th, 2019, one of his dogs started showing signs of being ill, brought him to the vet, turns out he's suffering from a medium severity case of IVDD. He ended up requiring surgery, which we paid for. January 21st, 2020, sent another email and never got a response. Today, when I was bringing his mail into his house, I noticed it smelled pretty awful and I quickly discovered his basement had about a foot of water in it. Questions: what exactly is my level of responsibility in this? I agreed to look after it for a few weeks / couple of months at the most. It has almost been a year now. Is there anything I can do? The location is Ontario, Canada. And a user in the comments suggested report the people missing. Which obviously seems like a smart thing to do, but please let me know in the comments what you would do if you were in this situation. In addition, in case you're not subscribed to the channel, I would be really happy if you could subscribe because I upload daily Reddit content. Update to the neighbor's story. Good news, I followed everyone's advice, reached out to the police and the embassy, explained the situation and gave them a bunch of information. Tonight I got a phone call from them explaining that they just decided to stay much longer and spend time with family and friends. They apparently asked his wife's brother to come and collect the animals and get the key a long time ago back in August, but never followed up on it. He apologized and said he was sorry. He gave me 2 options and asked if I wanted to keep his pets since I have had them for so long, or he will push his stepbrother to get the animals. Apparently the animals don't really mean anything to him or his wife, which I feel is quite bad. He apparently can no longer access his email and passed me along a new email address and phone number that I can use to contact him. But he told me he does not have plans to return to Canada anytime soon. I mentioned the water damage and he just said they can buy a new house or get it fixed when they get back. He was also quite confused and somewhat annoyed about the length we went to get in touch with him. He did not understand why we reached out to the embassy. He then offered to send me a bunch of money to square away the inconvenience, and that was more or less it. I don't know if it is a cultural thing, however, I feel kind of annoyed because how little his wife seems to care about the pets and his house. Anyways, me and my wife are going to keep the pets simply because, well, I don't think either of us can part with the dogs and his cat at this point. And the last one is a little bonus from our own subreddit r/ripstories. It was posted by user Mamasan, our beloved entitled diva, and it is titled The Saga of My Parents' House Part 2. Well, my dad retired from the Navy, full military ceremony with him being piped out with a silver sailor's pipe whistle. Entitled me asked for it to play with. My parents thought I would never be able to make it work. After 4 days, they took it back and hid it from me due to piping them everywhere. A week after Dad retired, we moved into the house, a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom place with a tiny deck at the top of the stairs leading into the door. Hello, assorted vermin. My parents loved doing yard work, but I would use any excuse to avoid it. Did not save me, this began the battle of plants versus my parents. And I, the pawn/slave labor, had to pull weeds in a yard about the size of an acre. This work got interrupted a lot with screaming, not due to fighting. We kept encountering assorted critters. Our cat led the dogs on the hunt for everything we screamed at. This would not have been that bad, however, the dogs were trained to hunt and retrieve birds with a soft mouth. This went so wrong when they tried giving us the still living frogs. And also lizards, rodents and the odd snake. Worse was the cat, she did kill them but refused to give them to anyone except my mom. What should have only taken a week took months due to our crazy pets. Happily for me, my mom was immune to poison ivy, just like my brother. My dad made me stop cheering every time I found it. I only cheered because I did not have to pull weeds out and my mom had to pull them. After we had lived there a while, my mom decided we needed a deck to wrap around the house with a patio type roof. The deck was easy, for a modest fee the builders came and added it. Sadly, they charged too much to put a roof over it. We found a handyman to do it cheaply. When he came to work, he had his 2 younger brothers as his helpers. Now, we had adopted a Doberman trained as a guard dog. Her previous owner did not want to stress her with going into quarantine because she was distressed from her puppies be adopted away from her. Lucy was a giant marshmallow who adored children. However, give the command and she was all threat. These brothers were terrified of her and asked if one of the family could be present while they worked. However, she would crawl in their laps begging for a share of their lunches. By the 2nd day, we noticed that the youngest of the brothers would be sent down the ladder to their truck to get any tools or supplies they needed. Like a typical kid, he would piddle around and delay getting back to work. When they loaded up that day, the oldest brother came to my dad and asked what the command was for Lucy to chase. Dad gave him the words to trigger a chase, so each time the younger brother was too slow to get back due to getting chased, the youngest brother began bringing extra food in an effort to bribe Lucy so she would not chase him. And by the way, this whole situation would be my biggest nightmare. However, she was too well trained. They finished the patio deck roof in record time and my parents gave them a cash bonus for cleaning up afterwards. Although, the oldest brother asked if he could borrow Lucy for his next job. This caused his younger brother to almost scream no. The next incident happened about 3 months later. The neighborhood children had discovered that Lucy adored them and loved to play with them. Indirectly, due to these kids talking about Lucy, the word spread through all the school system that she was actually harmless. This led to one night teen was trying to steal everything they could from around the house as well we slept. Picture a teen with a flashlight going to every house and accessing all the power tools he could find and carrying them out to the ditch next to the road. He then comes to our house, which has a 15-foot clearance underneath it, and walks around in the dark looking for the power tools. Enter Lucy, she is silent and walks up behind him. He turns around and the flashlight lands on Lucy, a big black Doberman with teeth bared. He tried to quietly tell her to calm down and that he was a friend, but the noise woke up my dad's hunting dogs. Now, all hunting dogs have very loud barks, so when hunting they can be easily tracked and found. Once they started barking, so did Lucy. This noise woke us all up and Dad grabbed his pistol and a flashlight and went outside to see what it was. My dad was wearing pajamas and the pants were a little more than shorts and open-toed sandals. He did not look scary at all, however he was a retired Navy officer and knew how to project a command voice. He spoke demandingly, "Show yourself now!" As soon as my dad turned his head away from where he was hiding, the teen took off running for our neighbor's house, straight across from our driveway with Lucy hot on his heels. Like us, our neighbors were rednecks. However, they did not have an old car on blocks for the teen to dive under while trying to escape Lucy's jaws. It was a small fishing trawler used to catch shrimp and had a deep V-shaped hull. We all heard the teen scream when his back scraped on it. My 60-plus-year-old dad stood there with shorty pajamas, open sandals, wispy white hair, standing every which way, and a rather large pistol in hand, yelling, "Just stick your head out and I will blow it off." Good girl Lucy kept growling and snapping at anything she could reach. When a few of the neighborhood hunting dogs broke out to join in, the teen popped up behind the boat and sprinted to the end of the road with Lucy leading a pack of assorted dogs closing in. The teen just made it into the back of a mini truck that his buddy was driving as a getaway car. They burned rubber out of there and the angle was wrong to see the license plate. All the hunting dogs that got loose were milling around excitedly, barking at each other and their owners. And here came Lucy trotting so proudly with something in her mouth. It was the hip pocket of a pair of designer jeans. The police showed up just as my dad was expecting Lucy's trophy, and everyone was excited to tell about the burglar that got chased off by the dogs. The police searched around and found all the power tools and even a couple boat motors and one lawn mower stopped into a ditch where they were getting ready to load it to the truck. Each neighbor was able to gather their stuff back up and nothing was missing. Of course, my dad had to have the last laugh. He handed the pocket and told her Lucy brought it back to the car and said, "Just let us know if anybody is dumb enough to charge us for a dog bite." The cops had the biggest grin on their faces as they left. As a final note, my dad's pistol was loaded with red shot. And once again guys, a beautiful story posted by our beloved diva Mama-san. And if you would like your own story to be read by me, please go ahead to r/ripe stories on Reddit and post your own story there. And guys, unfortunately we have already reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and if you haven't already, please also go to patreon.com/ripeyoutube where I upload exclusive Reddit videos starting at just $3 a month. This is a great way to support me in case you are interested, and the chance for me to become independent from YouTube revenue. Thank you so much for watching, please don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.